MMA Oddsbreaker. I'm Frank Trigg. That is the immortal one, Matt Brown, sitting there. He just got done playing Deer Hunter. Is that what you said you were playing right now?
Yeah, Deer Hunter 2014.
Is that your game? Is that some guys are Grand Theft Auto, some guys are or Star Wars, like your Deer Hunter? That's your game.
For the past couple of days, that's about it.
Are you one of those guys that finishes it, completes it, and then that's it,
I
or are
just
you?
I just finished it.
Oh, so now what? You're moving on to another. You just spent $50 on a game you're done with.
No, no, it's a free game.
Okay, okay,
Yeah, just on the computer, free game.
okay. So now what? You gonna go back and keep playing it, or you just move on to something else? Did you find the next thing?
I'll probably play the racing game now.
You are molding into a lot of stereotypes. Deer hunting, and I'm assuming the racing game is NASCAR. A lot of turning left. Like you're building a whole stereotype about you right now. It's just.
Drag racing.
Oh, okay, okay, all right. That's a little bit different. We can work with that one. That's a little bit
It's
better.
just a hillbilly, man.
Yeah, but you're only going fast in a straight line. It's not a bunch of lefts. It's okay.
True, true.
Let's talk about Carlos Condit. He's your opponent coming up on December 14th at UFC on Fox 9 up in Sacramento. Obviously, we saw that great fight that Carlos had with GSP. We've seen how much he's improved, but we've also seen your destruction of Cope, Thompson, Ramos, Swick, Lee Main, and Mike Pyle. Like just absolute debacle. Like put him down, put him to sleep, and walk away kind of situations. What do you feel that Carlos has that you haven't seen yet in any one of your other opponents?
I don't think there's anything that he's going to do that I haven't seen. I guess it's just a matter of whether he does it better, right?
What do you think he's most dangerous?
When you get tired, no question. Third round, those times in the fight when you're digging deep, gutting it out, he seems to maintain his composure and stay fresh pretty well.
Have you done stuff in your training camp then to handle the cardio issue? Not your cardio issue, but to handle that cardio issue of being tired in the third round and picking it up?
Yeah, I mean, I'm always in good shape. I always work hard. I always go in, the best that I can be. So, I'm not doing things specific, for, trying to, I always say like, he's got to worry about what I'm doing more than I got to worry about what he's going to do.
Yeah, you do have a little bit of an unorthodox punching style on your feet. And it's tough to train for because you're coming from different angles guys aren't going to see. If you had to fight you, who would you bring into your camp to get you ready? Do you know of anybody that's out there that can mimic your style?
Mike Tyson.
Nice.
That's actually not a bad deal, except he's 5 inches shorter than you, so it kind of doesn't work right.
Yeah. Okay. No, I don't know, man. That's a tough one. I don't know. You just got to be ready to get punched in the face if you're gonna fight me, I guess.
And punch in the face a lot, not just a little bit, and getting hit repetitively. A lot of guys have one punch, they take a break, they take a breath, they throw another one punch. You don't have that pattern. You throw 3 or 4 techniques at once, and then kind of get out of the way, and then do it again. It's tough in MMA, especially to deal with guys like that because the gloves are so small. Is that one of the things that do you have to pull back a little bit on your training partners? Because it looks like to me when you're fighting, we've never trained together, but when you're fighting, that it looks like okay, if he does that in training, he'll have no partners in a week. Like everyone's got to pull out because you're hitting him so hard. Do you find yourself training wise being that great partner for your other partners and not trying to put them to sleep every day?
Not every day, I guess, but yeah, there's times when you got to hold back. I mean, it's training. You don't want to hurt your guys. You want them to be able to come back tomorrow and do the work with you again. So, yeah, I try not to hurt anybody, but yeah, when you're training to hurt people, sometimes people get hurt.
And that's the reality of it is that we actually as fighters, as any professional athlete, usually practice is the worst part of the game. Trying to get ready for that competition is the worst part. And that's when you get most of your injuries. How's it been for you injury-wise throughout your career? And it seems like to me you haven't really had that many injuries at all. You kind of got out of a couple of them, but it's been pretty decent. I'm not talking this training camp. I'm talking other training camps previously.
Yeah. I'm injured a lot, just like anybody. I think I do. I pride myself on understanding fitness and nutrition, pretty well. So I think I take care of myself a little better than most others do. I do a lot of preventative maintenance, prehab, um,
Oh,
a lot of I eat healthy, I get my rest. I take a lot of precautions because I do get injured a lot, just like anybody does. But I think I take a lot of precautionary measures, and if I get hurt, I'm not afraid to take the time off and recover rather than go in there and kill myself. And I think a lot of it's mental too. I mean, there's a whole a lot of people take small injuries and make them big injuries, and I can just suck up those small injuries, mentally.
when you say prehab, which is it's a phrase that I've just started hearing myself in like the last 6 or 7 months, where guys they're not waiting till they get hurt, they're dealing with it before it becomes an issue. How do you know what to prehab? Like, is there certain things you're like, okay, that's just from knowing your body so well. This is the issue. I'm gonna work on this a little bit now before it becomes a problem, or is it something else that somebody else saw and said, look, you might need to work on that?
It can be both. I mean, I have very high level strength and conditioning coaches at Westside Barbell, and the big thing, for prehab is focusing on weaknesses and the common areas of injury, which are knees, shoulders, and lower back, hips, and then also neck also would be involved in that. Doing proper warm ups, things like that. The the I think the big key is working a lot on the small muscles. I think that's something missed out a lot on MMA fighters. A lot of guys are trying to replicate the movements of a fight, where when you're trying to replicate those movements, now you're grinding that same muscle and those same ligaments down more than even in without resistance. With resistance, you're just grinding it worse and worse. So there's that aspect, and then there's also knowing, being self-critical and being honest with yourself and say, look, my grip is weak. I need a stronger grip, and working on my neck is weak. I need to work on, and not trying to be too egotistical about yourself. And I mean, it's a very honest sport. If you're honest with yourself, you're going to get further in all aspects of the sport, I believe.
Obviously, right now you don't have an issue with that because we've seen the improvement over your last several fights. We've seen you get better every time that you do fight, especially your last 4 fights. You've gotten a lot better between each fight. Was it difficult at the very beginning to be honest with yourself and go, look, my grip is strong, my neck is weak, or whatever it is? Like, was it difficult with that, or was that something that you jumped into fully right away? Because it sounds like to me, like if I had to go through that process at the very beginning, I'd have a very difficult time doing that, trying to be honest, because I'm a compensator. Whatever hurts, I'll find a way around it and just keep on going. This thing is broken, it's okay. I just won't use it that way. I'll keep on going.
Yeah, I think it's something that comes with time and experience and maturity. You win a couple of fights, you think you don't have any weaknesses, right? You start thinking that you're invincible, and your training camp's going good. You start thinking that you're not going to get hurt, and that's usually when the things happen. When you start getting too far ahead of yourself. So, I've lost fights, and that's kept me humble. I make sure that I go to places where I'm getting beat up. That keeps me humble. I have asshole coaches like Beecher.
I can attest to that. He's a great friend, horrible coach. Oh, God, when he coaches, I can't believe he's still alive.
I have good coaches, that are honest with me, and I think that's the important thing. I mean, it's not going to happen overnight. It's not going to be. It's not generally, I don't think, something that's natural in people to be able to sit back and look at themselves like that. But that's the beautiful thing about the sport, right? Is the things you learn about yourself and the life lessons that you get out of it.
This fight against Carlos Condit, where do you think it puts you? You knock him out in the first round, everything goes great, great warm up in the back with Beecher. You walk out there, you smash him right away. Where's that going to put you in the weight division?
I believe it should be number one, right? He's number two, so if I beat number two, I should surpass him to number one, right?
That's my math, but you never know what the math and what the action. Because remember, there's the fans' math, there's the fighters' math, and then there's UFC math, and so it just depends on how they want to work it out. But
Yeah,
yeah,
it
I
all
believe
goes
so
around,
too.
but that's not my concern. Honestly,
Mm-hmm.
my concern is being the best I can that night, and let the cards fall as they may after that. Because if I don't perform on December 14th, then all that shit's irrelevant.
Exactly. Yeah, it makes no difference. And a lot of people have spent a lot of time thinking ahead. Going to the next fight or worrying about when I win this, I'll be in the title hunt. And that does do a lot of disservice. You got to be honest with yourself too at the task at hand. And the task at hand right now for you is Carlos Condit. And I do think personally, my pick is you beat Carlos Condit, you're the next guy in line. But like I don't have any say in how that works, and I think a lot of the fans are saying the same thing. The winner of this fight should be next in line, and that's a big step coming from. If you go back and look at the beginning of your record, there's a kind of a couple of times where you had a couple losses in a row and bounced back, and then a couple losses in a row, and you've kind of been back and forth. But since you've lost to Seth Kwasinski, you've just crushed your way through, and that was back in November of 2011. You've just basically run your way through everybody since then, and not been easy. It hasn't been easy run throughs. You haven't gone out there and beat easy characters or had easy times at beating guys. There's been a lot of good talent that you had to work yourself through, kind of different things. Take me through the Jordan Mean fight. That one you didn't finish him off the second round. What do you remember about going on that first round? That fight was back in April of this year.
No, yeah, I did finish him in the second round.
Right, yeah. But I'm saying,
I
talking about the first round, like what happened during the first round that went through?
Um, Gosh, I get in so much of a zone out there. It's hard to remember, all the details. But I remember that, I think I expected his boxing and footwork to be a little better than it was. And I noticed as soon as I started really pushing into him, he was able to counter me a few times and catch me with some things. But it wasn't enough to slow me down, and I could tell that he wanted to stay away from a close in fight with a hard working fight. He wanted that kind of chess match. And then when I started catching him, then he started coming back and was kind of willing to exchange in some hard things. And that was when he finally caught me with that liver shot. And that was a very tough fucking shot to come back from. That was probably, honestly, the most hurt I've ever been in a fight in my life. I also had a cracked rib at that time that I didn't know it was cracked until a couple weeks after the fight, actually. So maybe he contributed to that, but I definitely heard it before the fight. But he caught it right on that rib, and I just remember he hit me a couple of times while I was on the ground in the stomach, where I was having problems with the initial shot, and I just started laughing to myself. I don't know if you can really see it on video, but I just started laughing. I was like, this is, if you ever been in one of those really intense sessions where you're trying to carry a farmer's handle or something, you just got to laugh about it, because it hurts so bad. And that was the only thing I could think to do. So I think that was kind of just what got me through it. It was just, if you're gonna finish me, you better do it now.
Man, that's actually pretty much how I saw it happening, and I was amazed that you came back from that liver shot. Like I really was. Like he's gonna survive for a little while, but Matt's gonna get dropped from this thing because there's a bad, clean, non-tightened. Like you didn't see it coming. It just cracked you, and you could see. It wasn't even the life coming out of you. Your soul jumped out of your face. Like it was just gone, and you found a way to battle back, and that's scary for the next guy to fight you. When he watches that tape and goes, "Oh yeah, I can hit him in the liver as hard as I can." Most guys drop. We've seen, professional boxers are used to getting hit in that spot, get dropped from that body blow, and you found a way to fight back and end up finishing him in the second round. That's huge. So now you're looking at a guy like Pyle, who's worried about that body shot now, and now you're looking at Condit, who's going to be worrying about that body shot as well. If he gives it to you, it's not going to stop you, and that makes people nervous. You have a little bit of an edge, a mental edge now over guys because of how tough you are. Does that play into your game at all? Sometimes that you just kind of poker face him no matter what it does? Oh, he hurt me. I feel my tooth getting loose a little bit. You just poker face and keep going forward? Or is that just always something you've done? It's something you've kind of been about?
Honestly, it doesn't even cross my mind. I just go in there to fight the best that I can. I don't really evaluate, the small things like that. I don't think you can control what you do when you get hit like that. It's again, a beautiful part of sport is, you learn a lot about yourself. And when you go through that type of adversity, you learn, what you're about. You learn how tough you are. You learn what kind of man you are. and I learned a little bit about myself that night for sure.
Well, Matt, thanks for coming on here with MMA Oddsbreaker. I appreciate it for taking so much time. Sorry about missing you earlier today. I had a little bit of a debacle myself. So that's
No
Matt
problem.
Brown, the Immortal One. He's getting ready to fight Carlos Condit here on December 14th up there in Sacramento, UFC Fight Night. Good luck, Matt. We'll talk to you soon, bud.
Absolutely. Thank you, brother.